everybody, it's Casual.Boops and welcome back to another video. And today we're going to cover the brand new Tier 8 medium tank that's just been released, the T42. And I don't actually own this one yet, so somebody sent in a replay that I wanted to use to showcase what this thing is all about. So just like last time, I just wanted to take a few seconds to run through some of the things you need to know about the tank before we get into a replay. And the first thing I want to point out is the standard penetrations, 190 millimeters, which this tank's going to see Tier 10s. And 190 is really just not going to get it done. Everything else, this is all, it's a little bit worse, but it's close enough to compare. The high point, the .32 accuracy, that's fantastic. If you have a very good crew and you run some food, this can get even better. So this is great. The traverse, the dispersion when you're moving the tank around, this is not that awesome, but this just means that you're not going to shoot, you're probably not going to make as good as shots on the move. The turret traverse is good though, so like you're still going to be able to snap shots around as long as you're not moving the hull around. 10 degrees of gun depression and so on. And here's the other tragic part. So this looks really bad, really bad power to weight and worse terrain. So this looks really bad, engine power and power to weight is not awesome for a medium tank. The terrain resistances aren't doing it any favors, but this doesn't always tell the whole story. There are characteristics in the game that are not prevalent, not published in Tanks GG, and I believe they're considered like transmission gearing and so on and so forth. And it's part of the reason that I just want to real quick, if you compare an IS-7 and a 277, mobility-wise, this would make you think that the IS-7 is faster. But anyone who's ever played an IS-7 and a 277 will tell you that the 277 is way faster in almost every way. So there's something here we don't know. And so what I'm trying to get at here is this doesn't tell the whole story because this looks really bad. That being said, it appears also that the turret armor is okay, but I also don't think that's the case either. If you look at the 3D model, and I just want to run through this really quick. Against like Tier 7s, this is what you're going to see. The turret's good. This is fine. But as soon as you start playing Tier 9s, all of a sudden, oh my God, I can't. You're not going to bounce anything from a Tier 9 or a Tier 10 unless you get really lucky. So that's just something that you should be aware of. Lastly, I just want to bring this up because this is kind of important, I think. So the crew layout. This may not matter going forward if Wargaming institutes like Crew 2.0. They're talking about revamping the crew system, but until they do that, the radio operator duties fall on the commander in this tank, compared to the Tier 10 American medium tank, the M48 Patton, where the radio operator duties fall on the loader. So what that means is if you have a crew that's trained for the Patton, and then you buy this premium tank and you stick them in this premium tank to play some games, your loader is going to have situational awareness trained probably, but because this tank doesn't have the loader doing radio operator things, you don't get the bonus of the situational awareness. So your view range is not going to be as good as it could otherwise be if this radio operator duty was over the loader. And Wargaming have done this a couple other times, and I think it's really annoying. There's no reason to make these changes, but this is just an unnecessary way to I don't know, fiddle with things in a way that, like, there's no reason to do that. All right, so we're going to jump right into it, and today we're going to be watching Thunder playing the T42 on Pearl River, and it's an encounter game with Tier 9s in the game. And Thunder is running a turbo, which is why the thing seems so speedy compared to what I had just talked about with how slow it was supposed to be. He's running a turbo and a rammer and a vertical stabilizer, and the downside here is he's not able to run optics, so the view range should be not so great, but Thunder's also running food in order to counteract that. So he's kind of got the best of all the worlds, except for this is kind of an expensive loadout. A lot of people aren't going to run this loadout because, generally speaking, a lot of people will buy premium tanks to make credits, and running food in your premium tank is not a good way to make credits. So that's something to keep in mind. The other thing is, if you're not running a fire extinguisher and you do get lit on fire, this thing is going to burn up. You're going to have a bad time. The other thing I wanted to mention that I didn't cover in the statistics portion, this actually gets 280 alpha as compared to the standard kind of 240 alpha single shot mediums that are pretty typical. So you're going to see it high roll, or what appears to be high rolling quite a bit. And that's because it actually gets slightly better alpha. And the premium penetration, this is really the shining kind of jewel of this tank, is 268 premium penetration, which is the standard penetration of the M48 patent, the tier 10. So you basically, if you tap 2, you get tier 10 levels of penetration, which is really, really good, but also, like, you know, if you do that, you're not going to be making a whole lot of money. So it begs the question of, why are you playing the premium tank? If it's just to, you know, play around with it and have a good time and have fun, which is totally fine, then that's fine. But a lot of people are going to buy premium tanks so they can make credits and train crew and stuff. So generally speaking, if you want to have the best experience or the most competitive tank, you're going to have to tap 2 a lot. Or in Thunder's case, he's running food as well. So this is just something to keep in mind. And this is part of the reason I titled this video the way that I did, is this thing needs a lot of help to make it effective, and form of food and premium ammunition and so on and so forth. And so I am really not high on this tank, but you know, it's something out there, and you know, it's not a piece of garbage, and this might be something that people do enjoy playing, and who am I to tell them how to play their game? So anyways, we're gonna let Thunder take over, and I'll be honest, I haven't played Pearl River all that often since it's been released. It's only been out for, God, it feels like maybe a month. I could be wrong on that one, but I haven't really gotten to know all the little ins and outs in the map yet. But Thunder right away sees the ST1 and the T30 are pushing up, and because he is occupying this middle area, he knows he can get flanking shots, so he's going to go over here and help pinch the enemy. And we'll just take a free shot of the T30 here. And these guys are distracted with our team. This is all really risky, though, and you saw when Thunder got up here originally, he was looking around at his teammates a lot because he was able to put pressure on the Progetto and the standard B. If his teammates would have backed off and let the enemy come up behind him, he would have been toast. So it was a really risky play, and it happened to work out, and now he's able to put the flanking fire into these guys and really put the thing to work. You'll notice, you know, he has blocked that lucky shot in the Progetto, but otherwise, the way he's staying alive is just not by not getting shot. And he's switched over to premium rounds to finish off the IS-6, which makes sense. Those things have pretty good armor. But you can see the gun handling is nice. Like, there are things to like about this tank. It's not a total piece of trash. I just think, you know, when I buy a premium tank, I don't think about it in a way of like, okay, I know I can make this work as long as I spam gold. Like, that just, man, look at that. Look at how, I mean, that's a 450 meter shot, and he's able to just put it right in the back track. So, you know, this is it's a fine tank, but it depends on what your goals are with a premium tank. It doesn't, and so if your goals are to make credits, this is probably not the tank for you. And if you like really fast tanks, this is probably not the tank for you. Or if you don't want to run food in your tanks to make them effective, you're going to have a hard time. Like, this is a great replay to show what the thing is capable of, but Thunder has really got the thing pimped out. So, credit to him, he's not spamming gold rounds, but, you know, he's running food, and so that's something to consider when you look at this. All the behaviors of the tank, the turret traverse, the view range, the gun handling, all that is all actually increased by the fact that he's running food. So, keep that in mind. And the game is, you know, pretty handily. I would say that Thunder has done a pretty good job of dispensing justice from the middle of the map there, and kind of just doling it out here and there. And we're just sort of cleaning up. The game is totally losable at this point, and we're just making it closer. It's 6-5, but Thunder's going to try to use some of that mobility that the turbo provides and put himself in a position where he can be effective. So if you look at the mini-map here, we have a Foch that's holding out against 3 enemies, and a VK-100 on the top side of the map that no one knows where he is. So, oh, and there's the VK. Okay, so So Thunder's going to get over here and try to help out the Foch before the Foch dies, because this is something I covered in another video here. Foch doesn't have a turret, and so as soon as you have more than one enemy that's able to spread out like that, it's just kind of like the worst case scenario for something that doesn't have a turret, because they just make you look to one side and then you get shot in the side from somewhere you're not looking. It's just awkward. But it doesn't look like Thunder's going to be able to get there in time to help out his Foch friend, so he takes up a good defensive position here, and we'll just see what happens. Wait for it. Okay, he waits for the Udez to commit. You notice he didn't shoot him as soon as he got out from the cover, because he didn't want the Udez to be able to pull back in cover and create an issue. So now, since he waited for the Udez to be fully out in the field just a little bit, he waited an extra like 1 second, and the Udez went full on, and was now caught out in the middle of nowhere, and he gets to eat him now. So good play there by Thunder, and that's just a good lesson. Just because you can shoot somebody doesn't mean you shouldn't just wait. Maybe sometimes a second or a second and a half, and that can make a big difference. Thunder's loaded the premium rounds here, trying to deal with this WZ, and because he's a one-shot, but then also because this is kind of the game-winning scenario. Almost everybody's a one-shot. Thunder's a one-shot to the VK and the Wheezy, so he knows that he can't really be messing around whiffing a shot that should go in. And I kind of agree with his decision here. He's running off. He's just going to bail, because there's not really a good way to approach that Wheezy in a way that you can get the jump on him. So what's likely to happen is if he were to stay there, nothing would happen. Or he would go and look around and try to find the Wheezy and get, and then the Wheezy would get his first shot on Thunder, and Thunder would die, and that would be the end of his game. So he decides to totally bail from that and just see what the VK100 is up to. And oh god, there it is. Okay. And so the VK is running the big gun, which we haven't been near it, so we don't really know. But you should probably assume he's running the big gun, and that has a 440 alpha, if I'm not mistaken. And so it's totally possible that Thunder is a one-shot for the VK. So he doesn't really want to mess with this guy, because he'd have to shoot the VK, math, at least 3 times. And the VK could one-shot. So this isn't really a fight that he wants to take by himself. But you see the Oho has been spending the last couple of minutes driving all the way back from the enemy cap, or enemy spawn, to here. And what I'm thinking he's hoping is going to happen here is the Oho is going to come up here, eat a shot from the VK, and then the Thunder can come around and they can double team this VK. And that's exactly what we want to happen. Oho, what are you doing? What are you doing? Oh my god. And this is what I mean. You can't depend on puppies. I don't know what the Soho thought. He's going to do the flankerino, I guess. So I guess we're just going to go with him, because we still can't hang with that VK by ourselves. So we'll just follow the Oho, see what happens. This is, the flanking Oho. You can see him there in the chat. He says, I'm flanking. Japanese heavies don't flank. Newsflash. Anyways, we're just going to make the most of this, because now we know where the Wheezy is, and that's good info, and now we know where the VK is, and that's also good info. So Thunder's going to just, do we help the VK, or do we finish off the Wheezy? I think Thunder makes the right play here. He decides to take out the one shot on the cap and just make things easy. And there's that 268 pen just doing work. So now it's 3 versus 1. AMX 5120 is just still kind of hanging back there. He should probably move up, but it is what it is. So we're still kind of in the same position, though, because the Oho has hit points, and Thunder does not. So he's saying, Oho, if you could take the hit, then while the VK is on reload, then both of them can shoot him and take him down. So this is the teamwork that you're hoping to see.
To cover your flank. Much obliged.
And let's see what happens. Is he gonna... Oh, okay. And the VK is using this building as cover, which is a good call. He was using the building as cover. Put a shot at the lower plate. Good shot by Thunder. And we're still using the premium rounds because, again, this is the end of the game. And now, so Thunder knew he had to wait for a clean shot and not hit the building in order to finish off the game. And that's the game. Thunder ended up taking home 8 kills, 3,700 damage, He blocked that one shot from the standard B, but nothing else, and 600 spotting, and that brings us an ace tanker and the Radley Walters for the 8 kills, and also a top gun. And all that adds up to 1,592 base XP because a lot of these tanks that Shunt Thunder was shooting were tier 9s. And lastly, I want to spend a little bit of time on this end plate here more than I otherwise would because this is very telling. You look here, Thunder has a premium tank, but he has a standard account, and he didn't shoot that many premium rounds, but he did run food, and he did shoot a few premium rounds. So the result is he had a great game, and he still lost 5,000 credits. So if he would have had a premium account, maybe he would have had 33,000 credits. But for a performance like that, I'm really not. This is the main drawback to the tank: the ability to make credits because of the low standard penetration and the reliance on food to really make up for the fact that you need the turbo and so on and so forth. Really, just gimps your ability to make any kind of credits if you want to be competitive. It's not to say that you can't play the game with 190 standard pen, but it's really going to make it hard when you start seeing tier 10s. And so if you want to be competitive, you're going to have to tap 2, and it's going to cost you credits. So that's a pretty big downside. That's why I kind of consider this, I don't think it's the worst tier 8 medium in the game, but it certainly doesn't hang with tanks like the Progetto, the Barask, the Lorraine 40-ton, and other tanks just like that. This is a fine machine, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. I'm a little bit lukewarm on it. So, all right. Well, thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Okay, bye.